Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 216, Catch Me If You Can, which is a biography crime drama from 2002. This has an 8.1 on 695,996 votes. It's gone up 2,000 votes. Almost 3,000 votes.
Wow.
Yeah. So the spoiler-free synopsis, Frank Abagnale Jr. worked as a doctor, a lawyer, and as a co-pilot for a major airline, all before his 18th birthday. A master of deception, he was also a brilliant forger whose skill gave him the first real claim to fame. At the age of 17, Frank Abagnale Jr. became the most successful bank robber in the history of the U.S. FBI agent Carl Hanratty makes it his prime mission to capture Frank and bring him to justice, but Frank is always one step ahead of him.
It's a good synopsis.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is directed by Steven Spielberg. He's directed another one on our list. We did previously, Jaws, at 237. He's directed E.T. and Schindler's List, which is way up on our list at number 6.
Yeah, it's way up there.
It's way up there. Then it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, and Christopher Walken.
Who all have more movies on the list.
They have a bunch more movies. So, I mean, Tom Hanks has one really up there, too. So.
Yeah. Forrest Gump was really far up there. So, Rotten Tomatoes / Metacritic. The Metacritic rating is a 75. The Rotten Tomatoes average rating is a 7.9. It's 95% on 198 critical reviews. So 189 critics found it fresh and 9 found it rotten. 2 of the fresh, Kevin Carr, simply one of the best, most fun movies of the year. 2002. I could see that. There wasn't really too much coming out that I can remember. Felix Vasquez Jr., a truly excellent, action-packed, and funny crime caper.
I can see that.
I don't know about action-packed, but
I can see the funny.
I can see the funny and the, the funny.
The crime caper thing?
Yeah, I can see everything after and.
You can see everything after. Okay.
Funny crime caper. I can see that. So the 2 rotten. Nimrata Josie? A hugely watchable film that disappoints nonetheless. I can see what he means, but it wasn't disappointing.
Yeah, it wasn't disappointing to me either.
Manohalla? I don't know. For all his genre hopping and shape-shifting, Spielberg seems to have become too big to tell small stories, which is one reason why the film sputters on one too many false endings. Yeah, there are a couple false endings in there. There was right when it gets to the end, I'm like, okay, it's gotta be over now, and then there's still more. I was like, okay, now it's gotta be over. Nope, there's still more.
Still more.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think Spielberg's too big to tell small stories. I think he did a fine job with this, but I do get the false endings thing.
I do.
Alright, critics' consensus. With help from a strong performance by Leonardo DiCaprio as real-life wunderkind con artist Frank Abagnale, Steven Spielberg crafts a film that's stylish, breezily entertaining, and surprisingly sweet. Sure.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So the income. The budget was $52 million. In the U.S., it made $164,615,351. Internationally, it made $187,498,961 for a total worldwide of $352,114,312.
Wow.
Pretty good amount of money. Not up to what movies are making now.
No,
but it made
billions,
pretty good amount of money. So the opening weekend, it made $30,053,627 on 3,156 theaters is how many theaters it opened in.
So it was a decent release for the most part.
Yeah. And it was in theaters for 149 days, which is 21.3 weeks. Its all-time domestic rank is 301, and the highest all-time rank it hit was 84. Hit that on March 27th, 2003, which is about 4 months after it came out.
Yeah.
Because it came out on Christmas in 2002. Which, I mean, technically it's a Christmas movie. They do celebrate Christmas a couple times in there.
He calls on Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a couple... Yeah, this could technically be a Christmas movie.
We can stretch it to make it a Christmas movie.
Technically. Too bad it's on our list. We can't use it for our Christmas event.
Darn.
Dang. So, awards. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, but did not win any. It did win 16 other awards. The BAFTA Awards, Christopher Walken won Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role. Screen Actors Guild Award, same thing. Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role. AARP Movies for Grown-Ups Awards.
I didn't know that was an actual award. Okay.
No, this is...
Wow.
This is like an entire ceremony.
AARP Movies for Grown-Ups. Okay.
Yeah, this is like an entire ceremony. Best Movie Time Capsule. Which I get that. It's a couple, 3-4 years. The span of 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Art Directors Guild. It won Excellence in Production Design. BMI Film and TV Awards. It won for the music John Williams. British Animation Awards, which is weird because this is not an animated movie. Best Film and TV Graphics for the main title. Oh, okay.
The beginning has animation.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't an animated movie, but okay. I get it now. Broadcast Film Critics Association Awards, Best Director and Best Composer. Golden Schmooze Awards, Best Line of the Year. Knock, knock. Who's there? Go fuck yourself.
I love that line.
Yeah, same. That's like one of the only lines I wrote down.
Yep.
Gold Spirit Awards, Best Comedy Soundtrack, Best Comic Theme. International Online Cinema Awards, Best Original Score. National Society of Film Critics Awards, Best Supporting Actor. Christopher Walken again. Online Film and Television Association, Best Music Original Score. Ottawa International Animation Festival, Best Station Program Identification Title Sequence. That is the longest title.
I was like, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. And, of course, we have the Teen Choice Awards. They always come up with the best categories.
They do.
Choice Movie Liar. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the only one I saw for Leo.
Yeah. He didn't really win any awards except for that. He was nominated for a few, but he didn't really win any.
Okay.
Initial thoughts. What did you think?
The first time I watched this, or the most recent time?
I don't care. I only watched it once.
Oh, you've only seen this one time?
Yeah.
I've seen this a couple times. I'm trying to remember my first reaction. Well, I'm like, okay, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, so this should be at least decent movie. Mm-hmm. And then I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, enough said for me. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he is a good actor. Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't bad. It did... I mean, I read the book first, and it pretty much followed the book almost exactly, so I didn't really have too much of an issue with it.
That's good.
I did kind of think it was cool, because in the book, they don't really talk about the FBI much, because it's... Frank Abagnale is a real person. Like, he actually did all this stuff.
He did.
So they don't really... He talks about the FBI, like, he like interjects every now and then, like, I didn't realize that this was happening with the FBI at that point. But you don't get as much information as they give you in the movie about the FBI as you do. So, like, in the book, you get the end where he's, like, almost going to get caught. You get that bit of the FBI, but then not much else about the FBI till in the movie you get all kinds of interjecting about the FBI, so it's kind of cool that way. So I thought that was interesting. But
this reminds me of college.
Yeah, we did play this.
We played college. The actual like theme. Yeah. Catch Me If You Can in college.
The one that keeps playing
over and over. And I was like, oh, that was like, it's actually a really fun piece to play. So,
yeah, it was pretty good.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So you get this stick figure intro, the little animated intro.
Yeah, with the theme and everything going on.
Yeah. And then it's like a little game show, and these guys are saying their names. And they're like, I'm Frank Abagnale Jr., and they all say the same thing. And it's like, when they have the lineup in jails, and they get the suspects, and the suspect and like 5 other people that they hired to come and say this line that the victim had heard.
Yeah.
So.
That's what it reminded you of.
Yeah. Even though it was like a game show.
The game show to tell the truth.
Yeah. So then he's in a French prison. This is the next part that I have. And,
you said how you got caught and everything.
Yeah. So it kind of starts at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
too.
It does go back and forth. So, and it doesn't really explain it, but you can kind of see it. French prisons are not the place to be in prison.
Nah, looks pretty bad.
Yeah. Like, I've seen what our prison systems looks like because of documentaries and stuff, and then I've heard from the book, because he describes it in vivid detail in the book.
Yeah. About
the French prisons, and I'm like, I never want to be in France and get arrested. Never. So, FBI guy shows up, which is Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
He shows up and wants to... Basically, he wants to take Frank away and take him to American prisons, because that's technically where he's supposed to be.
Technically.
Even though he did commit crimes in France. But, so they take him out because he needs a doctor. So they take him to the,
because he passes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Frank
if you're
passes out.
If you're covered in your own crap and puke and pee and all that, you know, I'd pass out too. But
yeah,
he air quotes passes out.
Air quotes. Air quotes.
So they take him to the little infirmary ward, and he attempts to escape, but he has no energy.
Yeah, he tries to run for it, and he's like, it just falls down. Just like,
it does not work.
No.
Then there's like this award ceremony. It just jumps back
6 years.
Yeah. And there's an award ceremony, and you see younger Frank, so younger Leo, is there with his dad, and his dad's getting an award for something or another. I don't remember. It was
an award.
Yeah. It's been a minute or two since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Then it's Christmas. He's kind of celebrating Christmas with his parents.
Their parents are dancing around.
Yeah.
Being cute.
Mm-hmm. And so they, him and his dad kind of do their own little con thing together, which is kind of weird.
It's like, yeah, he's like, I need you to get up so he can, like, he's like, gotta go get you a suit. It's like,
yeah.
What?
So they go get suits, and then they pretend to be something. I don't remember what they pretend to be, but they go to the bank.
Frank Jr., which is Leo, has to pretend he's a driver for his dad.
That's it.
Yeah. I remember that.
This is just different from the book, so I couldn't really remember it, because based on the book, his dad didn't really have anything to do with his conning.
Yeah.
So... I remember the book really well, but I think it's because it took me so long, whereas this took me like 2 hours to
2
watch.
Hours, yeah.
Whereas the book took me, I think it was like about an 8-hour listen.
Wow.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. But, so then they do go to the bank and I think they pull off the con, I can't remember. You should probably take the reins, seeing as how you've seen this a bit more than me. I've seen it the one time.
Because, like, he's going to the bank and everything. He's trying to meet with the banker because he's being investigated for tax fraud.
That's right.
Yeah.
But his dad does say that he's going to open a checking account for his son. And he has, like, personal checks that he can write.
Yeah. Before that, because they're out of, like, they're not doing well financially, the family.
So they have to move.
They have to move out of the house into a small apartment. The mom doesn't like that, of course. And Frank's at a new school, in high school.
He walks in and pretends to be the teacher. That's hilarious.
Just, like, walks in. He's, like, a French teacher.
Yeah.
Well, there's another thing.
His mom is French. Yeah.
His mom is from France, so he knows French.
So he walks in and then the sub shows up and gets pissed. The sub shows up and she's like, they called me, and she's all mad and everything, and huffing and puffing her way out the door.
He just goes along with it and just, like, totally acts like the sub.
Yeah, and it's like, what, 5-6 days before the principal even realizes that he was pretending to be the sub?
Yeah, it's like his parents have to get called in and everything.
Yeah.
About it. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
His dad is actually laughing at that. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, oh, kid, you're silly.
His dad thought he did good.
Then after school one day?
Yeah, after school, there's a note, and he walks in on his mom. Not really walks in on his mom, but his mom's at home with one of his dad's friends.
Yeah.
They're not, like, naked or anything, but...
Well, it looks like they had just gotten dressed.
Yeah.
So we can assume that there's some cheating going on there.
Yeah.
Then, because doesn't he say he get his license during that time too?
Yeah, I think somewhere in there he gets his license.
Yeah.
His mom tries to bribe him to not say anything to his dad.
Yeah. He's just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he comes home, like, another day, and it's like, there's someone else in there, but that person takes him back to his parents' rooms, and both of his parents are there, and
he
has to
say who he wants to live
with.
Who
he wants to live with, because they're getting, like, a divorce and all that. And he just, like, freaks out.
And he runs away.
And he runs for it. He, like, runs away.
And he figures... It doesn't really explain it very well in the movie, but in the books it does. He seems... Like, he acts a lot older than he is, and he looks a lot older than he is. You kind of get that with the substitute teacher thing, like pretending to be the sub in school. But in the books, it explains a little bit better that people think he's 10 years older than he actually is. So he just goes right on ahead and changes it on his birth certificate and his license and everything.
That's just smart. Because I know after he runs away, there's that flashback to the whole... Flash forward, technically.
Yeah.
Back to France and all of that.
More of his escape attempt, and also him he's going to be put on a plane to be taken back to America to be in an American prison.
Yeah. Then it goes back to the 6 years before that.
Yep.
So making fake checks with all those fake names
And then he sees pilots that just can go up and cast their checks without even having to show any ID or anything. And he's like, he gets a bright idea. Leonardo DiCaprio does a really good job of showing that, hey, like that facial expression when you're like, I know what I'm about to do. He does a really good job of showing that.
Again, great actor.
Yeah. Then so he pretends to be... See, he's really... like at that age where he can pretend to be an adult like he does for most of the movie, and then also he can still act like a kid. So he goes in and he's interviewing one of the like pilot people for Pan Am.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an actual pilot. I think it is an actual pilot he's interviewing.
He's asking about like what all they need and all of that.
Yeah. Like what you need to have to be a pilot, questions that you would get asked as a pilot and all this. And so Then he figures out how to get a uniform.
Yep.
A pilot's uniform.
And he's he writes home to his dad saying, he's like, I'm going to be a pilot and all this.
And, so he gets the uniform, and the guy's like, yeah, you just need to give me your employee number. I don't take checks or cash. Yeah. And he's like, oh. So he gets a free uniform, pretty much. I don't know where he come up with the uniform, the employee number.
It was from the guy who's interviewing.
Oh, was it the same number?
It was he said that, he was like, his pilot ID or whatever. He's like, oh, this is expired. You can have it. Oh,
yeah, he gave him an old one.
Yep.
So he could make a copy of it, and put his picture on it and his name. That's right.
Yep.
And then, you also see him, he's doing payroll checks, and he has all kinds of these little model planes, and he puts them in the water, because on models, the stickers come off with water. That's also how you put them on, too. So he submerges all of these little model airplanes into the bathtub and just takes the stickers off and puts one on his ID to make it look like an actual Pan Am ID. And then he also uses it for
the checks,
payroll checks.
Yeah.
He makes a ton of them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and he actually gets to go on a plane and pretend he's a pilot, and
he gets to deadhead, and he does it quite a bit.
Yeah, and like there's also a flight attendant thing.
Yeah, he loves the flight attendants. He discovers women.
Discovers women at this time.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally has sex with a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
so after the flight attendant thing,
I give up. I can't find her.
The FBI gets, they hear about the check fraud.
Yeah.
And that's where we get to really know about Tom Hanks' character.
Yeah.
Carl Hanratty.
He doesn't like people. He's kind of the head of the bank crimes division, I think is what it is.
I think so.
And so he is pretty much put in charge of finding Frank Abagnale Jr. I think his name is something else now, though. Because he changes his name a few times in the movie. It's always Frank, but it's Frank something else.
Always. The last name changes constantly.
Yeah, his last name's always changing. But then Frank is in New York, and he has lunch. I think it's New York again. He has lunch with his dad, and he's telling his dad, like, what he's doing. Not really what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's telling his dad what he's doing.
He's like, and before that, he had bought a routing machine. Cause
that's what the bank teller that he has a date with, he is talking to her and getting all kinds of information on making fake checks and stuff. But he also bought his dad a car.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, I can't take that, because if the IRS realizes that I have that, then they're going to take it away. He's like, but you have always had these nice fancy cars, and now you don't. That's basically what it is. Because his family was kind of rich. Like, kind of rich. Not super rich, just kind of rich. And then...
the money problems.
Yeah, the money problems hit. And then, so now he's... post office worker is what his dad is.
Yeah.
Because he had to close up his family store because the IRS people were trying to take it. They're like, you can't have this.
Yeah. Shaking
their finger and everything,
So then it goes, was it Hollywood?
Yeah, we see the FBI kind of tracking him down, too. Because he's gone back to... He's moved to a different city in a different state to pull off his bank fraud.
Yeah, so they track him down in, like, this hotel.
Yeah. And he does a good job of getting away, so...
Yeah, fakes being an agent called Barry Allen.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing my ass off.
I thought that was awesome.
Because I was like... Oh.
It's like, he's the Flash!
I'm like, that's the Flash's real name.
It's one of the Flash's real names. There's a couple Flashes.
The one that most people would know.
The main Flash.
There we go. I was like, the one that most people would know was Barry Allen.
Which Tom Hanks figures out later. He's like, this is a kid, is what he uses to figure out later, because he's like, Barry Allen, that's a comic book character.
Like, that's a comic.
This is a kid. Which, that's not fair, because I know who Barry Allen is. And if I was a guy, that'd be a great name to use as an alias.
I would use it. I totally would use it if I was a guy.
I could use Iris West. Iris West Allen.
That's true. The hyphen.
See, I'm not a kid. I know who Iris, but I love superheroes. So.
I know you do.
So I have a problem. So yeah, he's pretending to be the Secret Service or something to track down, like pretending that he's trying to track down Frank too, even though he is Frank. And so Tom Hanks' character, I can't remember his name. Carl, that's it. He believes him, and then so Frank gets away, but then Carl had taken Frank's wallet.
He checked his IDs and all that.
And he lets Frank get away. And then he opens the wallet and it's full of all kinds of labels.
Because
like
you notice in
the
room, all the labels have been pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a nervous habit.
Off the ketchup bottles. I don't think it's a nervous habit. I think he did it on purpose.
Well, he did it earlier in the film, too.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
I do that, too, when I'm like that.
Then Frank sees the newspaper report about him. Is that what it is?
Because I know he's posing as Mr. Fleming. Because he switches careers.
Mm-hmm. He switches his careers around. Because he's a...
Because he's posing as Mr. Fleming because he saw a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, ha, nice.
You see that FBI guy, Carl, is sitting at the laundromat at one point. Did you see that?
Yes. And during that time when he's at the laundromat, Frank is with Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner. She's an escort.
An escort.
And he doesn't realize this at first because he has never come across an escort.
Yeah. He
doesn't realize it, and then she's like, well, how much do you think one night with me is worth? And he like lowballs her at first, like 100, 200, something like that, and she gets mad. And he's like, okay, well, how about 1,000? And
yep,
she's like, yeah, okay. And he's like, I have to go cash this check real quick. He pulls out one for 1,400, and she's like, oh, just endorse it over to me, and I'll give you the 400 back. So he rips her off for 400 because it's a fake check.
Yeah.
But he does get to spend the night with her.
Oh, yeah.
They find fingerprints on the check or something that she had that, because she goes to the cops because she's pissed. Mm-hmm. Even though she's an escort. She technically shouldn't go to the cops. But she does go to the cops. Mm-hmm. And, Frank calls Carl, and they're talking. And Frank apologizes, and, like, just talking to Carl. And Carl's like, you don't have any friends, do you? When you're doing a crime like this, no, he doesn't have any friends. There's no way he has friends. But, so, Frank, like, explains where he's at and what he's planning on doing. And Carl does not believe him.
No.
Like, congratulations, you're an idiot.
Yeah, this is the Flash part, too. That's what's funny.
Yeah, this is also where he figures out that Barry Allen is the Flash, and then he figures out he's a kid. And then he figures out where he's from, because he, like, looks in missing persons or something.
He mentioned the Yankees or something like that?
Yeah, he does mention the Yankees. He figures out he's from New York, and so that narrows it down. And then Carl looks in the missing persons reports for New York and finds,
like, teenagers, and he goes to see Frank's mom.
Yeah, he goes to see Frank's mom and figures out that that's who they're looking for, is him. So they figure out his real name, too.
Yeah.
It's not Barry Allen.
No. And then he goes to Georgia, where goes to the hospital and pretends.
He's pretending to be a doctor.
Yes.
First he's having a house party.
Yeah.
At his big fancy apartment thing. which is kind of funny. And then he goes to, I guess, the head of the hospital or whatever, and asks for a job at the hospital. And he's like, well, the only opening we have right now is the ER doc. And that's from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. And that's basically, as he explains it in the book, that's basically a you don't really have to do much job. That's how he kind of explained it in the book. It's like, I could just leave it. But in the movie, they kind of leave it to where he just oversees the interns that are working there. And he lets the interns do everything. So he doesn't, because he doesn't know anything about medical.
No, I mean, he's like trying to watch all these medical shows and all of that, just trying to pass it off.
And this is where Amy Adams comes up. She's a nurse.
There's Brenda.
Yeah. He's flirting with Brenda, and he elects to have her on his ER, as one of his ER nurses for the shift that he's on. And they get it on quite a bit during his shift.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then there's one time when he gets called to the ER for an emergency during that time. And there's a kid with a broken leg. And there's two interns there. And he asks one of the interns, like, what would you do? He's like, yep, that sounds good. And he just walks away.
He just, like, goes and vomits.
And that's...
Yeah. Doesn't like blood.
Yeah. And it's really funny. Then the FBI locates his dad.
Yeah.
And he talks to his dad.
And Carl sees that Frank's been writing to his dad.
Yeah, he sees all the letters. And his dad lies and says that Frank is a Marine. He signed up for the Marines.
And it's like, yeah, nice try.
So, the next thing we see is Frank and Brenda, Amy Adams, are talking, and she's just so upset because something about her parents are mad at her.
They don't speak to her anymore because
she had an abortion.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what if you were engaged to a doctor? And
then they go to New Orleans where her parents are.
Yep, and they stay there. And the FBI is just one step behind them. They show up at the house, but that's after they have already left to go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then, so they're having dinner with Brenda's parents, and,
because Brenda's dad's a lawyer.
Yeah. And so he says Grace, and it's the same story that his dad told when he was accepting the award about the two mice and how, like, they're in a bowl. Yeah, the cream, and one of them dies, and the other one just churns it enough to where it becomes butter or something like that. I'm just like, oh my god. Then, Frank shows interest in going into law.
Yeah.
When actually, he does kind of work pretty hard. So, I feel like he'd be a good lawyer. He works pretty hard, too.
It's like he takes the exam in Louisiana, the bar exam.
Yeah. And it doesn't say it in the movie, but it takes him a few times to pass the actual bar exam. He studied really hard for it. He explains it in the book.
Yeah.
So he literally actually passed the bar.
Yeah. And, like it goes back to they're on the airplane 6 years later.
Yeah.
And, he says, like, how'd you pass the bar exam? Did you cheat? He's like,
no, I didn't cheat.
No. He's like,
I studied for it. He says how long he studied, but I can't remember. It's like 6 weeks or something. And he says he took it a bunch of times and he finally passed it.
Yeah. So he gets to work for Brenda's dad, who is Martin Sheen, by the way.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
And then he's in court, and he's not even in front of a jury. He's just arguing at the judge, and the judge is like, "There's no jury here.
It's just a hearing."
Yeah. And then he meets with his dad again, and his dad tells him that his mom got married to that guy. So Frank's upset.
Yeah, and he tells his dad that he's getting married to Brenda.
Yeah. And Frank calls the FBI again. He likes to talk to Carl.
It's like every Christmas they talk.
Yeah.
It's nice.
See? Christmas movie. And then there's the engagement party for Brenda and Frank.
Yeah.
And the FBI shows up.
Yep.
And so Frank takes Brenda upstairs and explains everything.
Yeah.
Hoping that she will still marry him and run away with him.
And he tells her the truth. He's like
Yeah.
she's like the only one he's ever told the truth to.
Yeah. And so he tells her to meet him at the airport the next day. So he shows up at the airport, or like I guess like a week later, something.
2 days later.
There we go. I was like, I know it wasn't the next day. It was
2 days. Yeah, I wrote it down.
So he sees Brenda at the airport, but then he notices like all these different people, and like, oh, these are agents. She betrayed me. Which, I mean, you lied to her. And you're like 17.
Yeah. So, even, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way.
I'd say so. So then he goes back to pretending to be a Pan Am pilot.
Yes, and he tries to get, was it these college age?
Mm-hmm. He's doing a new recruiting program.
Yes.
For college-age girls who have an interest in being flight attendants.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an internship. And so he goes to a college and is talking to them all, and then picks 8 girls to be his fake flight attendants.
And he picks them all, like, I noticed they're all around, like, the same height.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually, like, almost his size, except maybe, like, tiny bit taller just to cover him up.
Yeah, so when they're walking around through the airport, it covers them up.
Yep. He uses them as, so he can get into the airport.
Mm-hmm. So they
That's,
get
like,
past...
clever.
He gets past all the FBI that's in the airport, because he's got the girls all around him and everything, so they think he's an actual pilot.
Yeah.
And the FBI goes after the wrong guy. So they see a guy that fits Frank's description.
Yeah, the decoy driver.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to 7 months later, if I remember correctly.
Yep. The FBI found out that he went to Europe, so they go to Europe.
France, he's actually making real checks now.
Yep. And because they were actually printed. Because he
real
found
printed checks.
It doesn't really explain it, but he did find a guy in France that printed checks. So he went to him and was like, hey, I need checks for these girls.
It's the same town his mother was from.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then this is basically where he gets caught. And this is right about your first false ending, I feel like. Because Carl shows up and finds Frank at the, like, some warehouse. I think it's like the printer shop or something.
Yeah, it's a printing place. He's printing some checks
And he says that the French cops are all outside and they want to kill him, but they let me come in here and talk to you. If I can get you to surrender, then you'll be fine. You'll be alive. And this is where I thought it was going to end. This was going to be the end.
I never thought that when I first watched it. But I can see why people think that. I can.
Yeah, I thought it was just the way that it was going with the fact that he was getting caught. I thought it was going to be the end. So Frank tricks them. Or no, Carl gets tricked and the French are outside. Because Carl says that they're outside, but they really weren't outside, and then they do show up outside.
Yeah.
So everybody was tricking everybody.
Yeah, and the French police take him away.
Yep.
And then it jumps back to the airplane.
Yep, and Carl says that his dad's dead, even though he's not.
Tells Frank that his dad is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he's not dead. I don't know why he said he was dead. It's probably just a decoy trying to get him to talk.
So that he's upset, so he goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, he does. And because he's been working on planes, or like pretending, he knows how to get out through the bathroom.
Yeah,
because they have like this little compartment or something that they have to clean out, but there's a way to get under it, so you can, without actually getting in the poop compartment.
Yeah.
So you can get underneath it and get out through the wheel wells. So he does that.
Yep, that's what he does.
And he runs off and he finds his mom's house.
Yeah.
And he sees he has a half-sister.
Yeah.
And then he gets upset. And lets the cops take him.
He's sentenced to, what's it, 12 years?
12 years in a supermax prison in isolation. Because they don't want him to con anyone else. And, so, this is, I think, another bit of a false ending. Because I wasn't expecting the FBI guy to come and visit him and stuff. But the FBI, Carl, keeps coming and visiting him because Frank is helping them catch other people that did the same thing he did.
Yeah.
Because he was so good at it, he knows the signs of what to do, like what people are doing. Then Carl offers him a way out, to where he doesn't have to be in jail, but he's still serving his sentence by helping the FBI catch people like him.
Yeah, which he does.
And then he runs again. And this is, I think, the third, for me, the next false ending. Because I thought he was going to run away again and just be gone. Because at this point, they're past where the book was at. So I had no idea where it was going to end. Because the book ends with him saying, I'm pretty much just going to be passed from prison to prison. Because since he committed all these crimes in different countries, he gets done with one prison, and they transfer him to another prison. And he goes through like 3 or 4, and then the book ends. So I didn't know about all this, where he's working with the FBI. So I wasn't expecting it. So when he kind of runs away again...
And Carl's like right there with him.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be another one. And that actually pretty much was the end.
Well... Almost.
Yeah, there's a little bit...
Carl tells him, like, there's no one chasing you anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, you can go if you want. There's just no one chasing you.
But then he does come back.
Yeah, he comes back. Keeps working.
Yep. He helps catch people that... I don't know if he is still employed with the FBI to this day, because it is a real guy. This really happened. But... Yeah, he just helps catch people that do check fraud.
Yeah.
And make fake checks.
That's the end.
Yeah. So, music. We kind of already talked about it a little bit. John Williams is known for this music. We don't have to talk about him because we've already...
Because he's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's my birthday twin. And that's like one of the best things ever.
He has already done... I think he's done... Well, he did Harry Potter. We did those. And then...
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Indiana Jones.
So there's not really much point in talking about him because we've already talked about him.
He's done so many movies. I mean, he's... I don't know how many Oscar nominations he has for movies. It's a lot.
Yeah. But he is known for this music, and one of his major things that he is credited for in this is being the conductor. That's what the major credit is. He worked on the other stuff too.
He's a good conductor.
Yeah.
Easy
So
to follow.
comparison. There was a little bit, there's the book. I was saying a little bit of things that happened in the book. Like, it ended him being passed from prison to prison. He was like in a Belgian prison.
Oh.
And then he gets passed somewhere else. And then I think he does eventually end up in an American prison. And that's... But I don't really know because I can't remember. It was a while ago that I listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything else is the same, except for, like I said, the FBI is interjected in a little bit more because the book is basically the real guy, Frank Abagnale. He is explaining what he did and how he did it. And it's just this story of how he conned the world. Because he basically conned the world. But yeah, the FBI is interjected a little bit more in there. Because the book is more from his point of view, so he doesn't know the FBI is after him. He didn't know until closer to the end of his criminal career. He even admits that. He's like, at this point, the FBI was here, but I didn't know that at the time. That's what he says. It's funny. Well, yeah. It's really similar to the book. They made it very cinematic, though. Rather than some guy sitting there in it. Because this is what I imagined from listening to the book is some guy sitting in there in the chair and telling you about how he conned the world. That's what I imagined, because that's what it sounded like.
That wouldn't be very entertaining.
No. Yeah, so they made it very cinematic.
This is like a documentary.
Yeah. Well,
that would be the only way they'd get away with that.
Yeah. But that's it.
I was like, speaking of FBIs and trivia, So the FBI officer who was chasing Frank and was inspiration for Carl Hanratty was an actual FBI agent. It's in the book.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name
is. It's a
is.
pseudonym in the book named Sean O'Reilly.
Yeah, that's it.
But he's really a FBI agent named Joe Shea, but he'd already passed away.
So they didn't put his name in there.
Yeah, protect his identity and everything.
Yeah.
It was filmed in 52 days, which is actually pretty impressive for a movie. Because that's what?
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, less than 2 months. And it was 157 locations around the U.S.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
That is a lot.
Amount of locations for a film. Like, wow. Because usually films like to stay in, like, one place. Mm-hmm. No. And then, I'm trying to think what else. And there's one more. So, the real person, the real Frank, is actually in the movie.
Yeah.
He's the French officer.
Okay.
That arrests him.
I couldn't remember because I had seen his picture because I was looking it up. I had seen his picture, but I couldn't remember who he was. I do remember seeing him, though.
Yep. Oh, this one's cool. So, there was between 3,000 and 4,000 background extras.
That's a lot.
And Leo had over 100 costume changes.
Yeah.
Which is like, whoa.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
Okay, so, where it has been on the list before, the only other list it was on, besides the one that we did, is the 2016 list. It was number 235. And then as of today, when we are recording, it is number 215. So it moved up.
Oh,
one spot.
I was like, oh, so one? Okay.
Previously, number 216, the 2010 list was Rocky from 1976, which we did a few weeks ago. The 2012 list, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl from 2003. The 2014 list, The Battle of Algiers from 1966. The 2016 list, The Message from 1976. Then as of today, when we are recording, The Princess Bride, which is coming up in a few weeks, is number 216 as of today when we are recording.
Yes. I love Princess Bride, so I'm excited for that movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
For sure. Oh my god, I think that might be one of my next 10s.
So, favorite line?
Well, I mean, of course, there's the knock knock, who's there, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
That's just a great line.
I only have one other line besides that.
I got two more.
Sometimes it's easier living a lie.
That's a good one. And I have, you're just full of surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Then my other one is, people only know what you tell them.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that's true anymore because there is Google now. And almost everyone's on Google. So, I don't think that's very true anymore.
No.
Used to be true. But
back in the 60s?
Yeah.
So what do you think? I'm good with whatever lines.
I really like the knock knock joke.
Me too. That's like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it did win an award. How can we knock it?
It's true. It's like, knock knock. Who's there? Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, because so the FBI agent, his coworkers are trying to get him to tell a joke, trying to get him to smile, and so he finally decides to tell a joke, and that's his joke. Alright, so what is your rating?
I gave it an 8. Solid 8.
Okay.
Good soundtrack, some good acting, especially from Leo and Tom, for sure.
Okay.
Plus, I just love that theme.
Yeah. It's a good theme. I gave it a 7. There were some bits that like, just tiny little details that I feel like they could have made it visually more evident. Like the couple things that I explained.
Yeah.
They didn't make it as evident. So it kind of took away from the story, especially having read the book. So I had those details already, but I feel like you missed out if you didn't. And it wasn't really like you needed to know it. It was just more of a, I thought it would have been cool if it was in it thing.
Yeah, I get you.
So that's what took it down a little bit. Other than that, it was good. I liked it. So, our next film is a Wednesday, which is from 2008, and it is a Hindi film. And that will be coming out next Friday. So we do offer premium, so if you would like to pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release episodes when I can get them done, and then a special monthly episode every month, and that is all included for $1 a month. And then for $5 a month, you will get all of that, plus you will be able to pick a movie of your choice to join us for every 50 movies. So we're getting to the point where 50 is coming up, so you don't have many movies left to choose from for the first set. So our special episode for this month, January, we will be watching a movie from the list that Jess came up with to start off, that she thought this movie should be on the IMDb Top 250.
Yes.
And it is Little Miss Sunshine. So that'll be coming out before the end of the week. Actually, by the time that this episode's out, it should already be out, so. Because I'll get it done. Hello. So we're still running our contest. If you leave us a positive written review, 1 out of every 10 people that leave one will be selected randomly to join us for an episode of their choosing. So please leave us a review. It'd be very useful. Where to find us?
So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cat and Jess Talk the Best. Our email is catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail. And our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
Yep. And if you could just share the links to the episode or anything like that, let your friends know if you find us even slightly entertaining or informative, something. We'd like a few more listeners.
Just a little bit.
I mean, we're having fun, so.
I was like, I try to push it wherever I go, so.
I don't go very many places. So, I can't push it. But, so our music is by Audio Binger, and you can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net. And that's all we've got for today, so we will see you next week with a Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.